Time keeps on leaving and we keep on moving. When do we pass on our wisdom to the youth? My veteran story, lost arts discussions, fireside chats with a bourbon or two. It's time to hear the stories by military veterans. Get yourself ready, it's the Lost Arts Podcast. The Lost Arts with Andrew Cox. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the Lost Art Podcast. That podcast has given a voice to our veterans. On today's episode, we will be doing a fireside chat titled, Is the Military Too Corporate? I'm excited to have on here two Marine veterans, Aaron Davis and Victor Ney. But before we get into today's fireside chat, are you enjoying the podcast? Then consider becoming a TLA patron. That's the Lost Arts patron. It is through donations that we are able to continue recording the podcast to get our veteran voices out for all to hear. Just go to the Lost Art website and click on the Become a Patron link. If becoming a patron does not work for you, and you would rather do a one-time donation, then go to the Lost Art website and scroll down and click on the link for a one-time donation. If you would like to become a guest and tell your veteran story, then email me at thelostartwithandrewcox@gmail.com. All right, here we are, back for another fireside chat. All right, we got Aaron and we got Victor, both Marine veterans. We're both excited. I'm excited to have you both on here to talk about our next topic. Let's see. It's is the military too corporate? Wow, that's a good question. I know I've seen some very interesting stuff pop up recently. Aaron, Vic, have you seen anything recently?
Yeah, yes. I read an article, I believe. I can't even remember what news outlet it was or what it was, but I seen the link through LinkedIn the other day that said something about the military is becoming too corporate.
Yeah, very good, Vic.
Not only just the articles that are out there, but I mean, all you have to do is anecdotally ask anybody. You see it all over media, social media. I mean, a lot of that is what they want us to see, but and then all over legacy media, again, what they want us to see.
Mm-hmm.
But if what they allow us to see on the legacy media is just that little bit, how much bigger or worse than it is than we can possibly imagine? I don't even know. But I mean, when you look at the history of in even the last 6 years or so, everything that's happened with, if you want to call it wokeness of the military,
right.
It seems whatever flavor of the day is in the presidential office has turned the military into some kind of social experiment.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, for sure. Did you guys see there was it's been on the news? I think it was on Fox News where I saw it, but it says the Heritage Foundation 2024 index for the U.S. military strength. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I believe that was in the Federalist as well. Yeah,
was it? So it basically went through and graded all the different military services, and based on recruiting, based on retention, based on our adversaries and stuff like that, and then where we are collectively as each branch, they kind of graded it. And the Navy and was it the Navy? The Navy ended up being weak. Air Force ended up being very weak. Then the Army and the Space Force were marginal. Oh, and the nuclear capabilities. I didn't even realize they were going to do that. But the only one that was strong was Marine Corps. So the Marine Corps, I guess, is adapting more with the times and preparing for combat and stuff like that. So I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I would say that the Marine Corps, and this is coming from the little time I've served in the Army National Guard. I'll go ahead and throw myself under the bus on that one. I think you already knew that, but
I was trying not to hold it against you or anything.
But, comparing the two services, I get it, Army National Guard, but I spent some time with active duty Army too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, deployed forward and stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
think the Marine Corps is still more attractive to those that are looking for a challenge.
Yeah.
If folks are just wanting to serve to either gain access to, college education,
Yeah.
some training that can equivalent to the civilian workforce without actually going to school for it. Which funny thing is you have to go to school for it in the military, but just a different path, I guess.
Right.
They typically choose the other services, and I would say that the other services offer more civilian-like courses and classes that they can take
Yeah.
that are equivalent to civilian sector.
Yeah. So do you guys think that the jobs, because I know they were talking about for a while, is hiring specific like professional level coming in as a sergeant or whatever in a specific field, almost non-combatant like is from what I was gathering. But have you guys heard anything about that?
Well, hasn't it been going on for a while now? I mean, look at all the jobs that we've civilianized in the military, and it's still going on. Every non-combatant role they're trying to civilianize. We've civilianized half of our food labor now. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure both of you can speak about it also, but how many of the officer billets in your command, the person retired on Friday and they came back to work on Monday in a suit,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
you know,
happens. Yeah.
didn't even move out of their office.
And,
Yeah.
and the 20 plus years at war, a lot of people literally wrote their billets into civilian billets.
Mm-hmm.
When the money was there to convert those billets.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's very interesting.
I wanted to add to that point. I believe that my Army National Guard time was 2004 to 2006.
Mhm.
And, the Army was already incentivizing coming in and being an E4 by the time you finish all your basic requirements for your MOS.
Yeah. And I think that's
You don't
still
see that in the Marine Corps, right?
not the E4.
I mean, typically they're, well, especially, in more recent years where they adjusted the time and grade.
Mhm. Yeah, because now
typically
in the
they're
Marine
about,
Corps, it's in order to pin on sergeant, you have to have re-enlisted, which
well,
means
isn't it,
you do your 4 years and then re-enlist.
right. Isn't it like, 2 years for corporal now? And then
I believe
another,
so. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken.
what, non-meritorious regular promotion, right?
But yes, regular promotion. Yeah.
And like you said, 4 years, at least 4 years time in service for sergeant.
Yes.
So,
Yeah. So once
I mean,
they hit that time, and you have to have re-enlisted. So if somebody does a 5-year contract, that doesn't guarantee that they'll get it. Now I don't know that for sure. Maybe there's a way around it.
right.
But my understanding was you had to have re-enlisted,
Yeah.
which was pretty wild. It's definitely changed over the years. I remember when I first came in, it took forever for some guys to pick up, just by the way our MOS was structured.
Right.
And then I'd say about a year and a half in, the MOS structure changed, and all of a sudden, like those guys that were having a hard time getting promoted were getting promoted finally because they were competing across the board instead of competing within their own little niche.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what other things do you guys see? We talked about the changing to the civilian sector, stuff like that. Do you think this is hurting our readiness overall for combat and things of that nature?
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I mean, the Navy has now reduced their standards again, so they can try to meet the recruiting goals.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's very true.
So,
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, you have that, and I think you've got to look at, I've only held like a couple of civilian jobs. I had the prior broken time,
Right.
where I had a couple of civilian jobs, and then of course the one since I've been retired. But I'm thinking in those jobs, those mid-level managers, NCOs, junior staff NCOs, um, typically were 6 to 10 years in service,
Yeah.
somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, well, I mean, equivalent to, E5, E6, E7
Right.
in the military. But, I mean, I've heard of some of these services promoting guys to E6 before they even hit 5 years.
You know, wow.
I mean, that was happening early on in Andrews and I's MOS, because instead of competing against all musicians, you were only competing against your own instrument. So the instruments that were hard to find were promoting very fast. The
But within
the
4 years
Marine
to
that
staff sergeant?
no 6 or 5, I think,
5 years?
Worcester picked up staff sergeant in 5 years because she
Yeah.
was a bassoon player.
Yeah. Yeah.
My MTA was a staff sergeant when she auditioned me, and she'd only been in less than 6 years,
I
if
didn't
I remember
realize that.
correctly. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, she was a staff sergeant when she auditioned us, and
That was a
I'm
long
pretty
time
sure
ago.
she bragged to me that she'd been in less than 6 years, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'll
I
have to ask her
think there
about
was
that.
a couple of Marines in my MOS that got selected somewhere around 4 to 5 years to staff sergeant. I know
Dang.
one was just at his 4 year mark, but these
Wow.
were exceptional Marines. These weren't, your
Yeah.
average.
Yeah.
Some of the
Yeah.
ones
That's
I've
true.
seen, up here at McDill around the base and stuff, and I equivalent them to a Lance Corporal. They can't wear their uniform properly. They just look like slobs, but
Yeah.
uh, kind of acting goofy out there. But
Yeah.
their service deemed that within their MOS they were ready to be E6s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and what are you going to do? Because you have, especially COVID didn't help. You had the mass exodus
Right.
because of COVID, and now there's all these billets out there that are vacant, and BICs out there that need rank equivalents to fill them. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
I can't blame it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta fill the gaps, right?
Yeah. Very true. And every service, you have those BICs, so many master gunnies or whatever all the way down. And if there's vacancies in the next promotion board, they're gonna try to fill those.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that.
Well,
So yeah,
at
go
least
ahead.
in the Marine Corps, you still have the minimum requirements of
Yeah.
physical fitness, your minimum education requirements,
Yeah.
so on
Height
and
and
so
weight
forth.
standards.
Right. They
Those
don't
types of
waive,
things.
as far as I know, they ain't waiving any of that. Of course, I've been retired, a year and a half now?
No, they're not. No, they're not waiving any of that. Those are still staples that are always going to be there. Now, I will say the height weight thing has changed quite a bit in the last year or so. So you still have the same height weight standard, but if it was broken down by percentages, how much, like if you're over your body fat percentage.
Yeah.
So a lot of people could tape out, but those that can't tape out now, they have to go to the, what is that machine called? You like sit in it, whatever, and it calculates all your body
Oh, I thought you were
fat.
going to say the sauna.
Not the sauna. No, that's what I sit in to try to make weight sometimes.
Some of us have been there. It was a struggle.
Yeah. No, there's a
And
machine
the
that
crazy thing
calibrates.
is,
There's a machine that calibrates all your height or your body fat. That's incredibly accurate. So that's like the third step. If you fail that, then it's automatic get onto BCP.
so
But
which
if you
kind of
pass
leads,
it, pass it at that level, then you're good.
yeah, which kind of leads me into the whole pride part of it.
Mm-hmm.
There towards the end of my career, and I know y'all have seen it. You had guys that did not care if they passed the PFT or not.
Yeah. True. Yeah.
I say guys. When I say guys, I mean guys and gals too. But
Yeah. But
used
yeah,
to
you're
it
right.
would
There's
be,
plenty of
you
them
fall
out there
back
that
in a
just don't
run,
care.
you were embarrassed, and you tried to catch up as best as you could.
Mm-hmm.
Almost to the point of killing yourself if you had a legit medical problem, right?
Yeah. That's that whole mindset thing. But I think over time we're talking about changing into more of a corporate mentality. it's kind of changing into that even on the fitness side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, it's okay. Okay. You're struggling, whatever. And people don't look at it the same. Like when we first came in, man, if you struggled at PT, you were getting your butt handed to you out at PT, you know, people
Yep.
were dogging you all the time, stuff like that. That doesn't happen as much anymore.
Okay, but I'll interject here. What about the prevailing? It's okay to not be okay. I mean, most people equate it to mental health, but I think it's becoming a little bit more pervasive. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not pass a PFT. It's okay to not pass a CFT. It's okay to whatever, not be in uniform regs or anything like that. You'll get there eventually, but it's okay to not be okay.
I completely agree with that. you, you know, you're absolutely right. People took it that route.
Yeah.
Um, I get the whole mental aspect. 20 plus years at war, folks were deploying 2, 3, 4, 5, some people upwards to 10 times over the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And that does take a toll on a person.
Yeah.
But I started seeing the majority of the people that were, having issues were not deployed.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot of self-inflicted issues, whether it was financial, relationship wise. And like you just mentioned, it became pervasive and it moved over to the physical side. It's like, well, you're struggling on the PFT. Hey, so-and-so, start PTing with them, get better. Person doesn't get better. You send them to medical. They get on some medical profile, whether it's, no running, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
And now you can't do anything with that person. And before you know it, they've been in another 5, 6, 7 years and have even gotten promoted.
Yeah.
Maybe sometimes twice.
Yeah. And that's a tough go. And nowadays, if you don't keep your paperwork squared away,
Right.
man alive, that I've seen guys on BCP that, okay, it's their time, they're hitting their 6-month mark. They're okay. They're going to get processed. And all of a sudden they look back at the paperwork and like, well, where's this? Where's this? Where's this? It's not there. Okay. Well, he's not on BCP. And then it's just, everything's done. Like it's over. That happens quite a bit.
Or the new first sergeant, the new sergeant major checks in and goes, what about this and that? Okay, well, screw it. We're starting all over.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's that too.
Yeah. And every 2 years, get somebody new. Yeah, very true. Yeah, that's amazing. The differences from when we first came in to now, and just imagine those guys that came in, well before us, those veterans that are quite a bit older. What are they thinking when they look at some of the issues and stuff like that they see?
So to add to that point, I thought we were a tighter team back, closer family, closer knit back in the day when you spent more time training with each other.
Yeah.
You spent some of your liberty time, a lot of your liberty time with each other. And I'm not saying just being a younger, service member. I mean, even after I was married, we would still hang out as, friends and stuff. My squad would come over to my house, whatever,
Yeah.
And it slowly became, hey, don't bother the Marines on the weekend.
Yeah.
Let them do what they want on the weekend,
Yeah.
And the next thing you know, it's like you're here Monday through Friday. On the weekend. I'm not saying I did that, but I heard it. We seen it. What you do in your free time is on you, but you can still be held accountable.
Yeah.
Well, why aren't we doing something to prevent those things from happening?
Yeah. Yeah. And really that boils down to, I guess, command climate, what command climate is being set. Those types of things. I remember, and also location, right? Location plays a huge factor in those types of things.
Yeah.
So like if you're, for example, when I was on the depot, there's so much to do in San Diego that every time Liberty was sounded, everybody was going a million different directions because there was so much to do. And, they weren't really doing it together. Whereas if you get to a place like when I was in Okie, I mean, there was nothing like you had the guys there that you were with. And, if you were going out somewhere, somebody had to go with you. So it was one of your friends. So I think it was much tighter there in Okinawa than it was in San Diego.
I was going to make that exact same point. And back when we were in 29 Palms, there's nothing else to do out in the desert, so
Yeah.
you hung out with each other. You might, a bunch of you get in a car and go down to Palm Springs, but for the most part, you're all hanging out together.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fast forward, 10, 15 years later, the Xbox One, Xbox 360, Sony PlayStation this and that, and now people have all kinds of things to do on their weekends. Leave them alone so they can play their video games in the barracks, So yeah, it's back then, prior to us, there was none of that. No cell phones, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was all about the interpersonal connections with your teammates, with your fellow Marines. But now, with the saturation of social media and online gaming, I mean, now it's not just going back to your TV and playing online games. Now the phones are getting good enough to do it now. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I was teaching class today and kids came in when they were playing Fortnite on their phones in the classroom.
God.
I'm not even kidding. I'm not even making that up.
That's funny. But, to go with that is you look at the interpersonal relationships of today in the working environment even. You have the computers, you send emails. You don't have to see the person. You have the cell phones. You want to get accountability, all you got to do is text. And you don't have to talk to anybody. You don't have to see anybody. You can sit in your office all day long and be able to accomplish whatever it is that you need to accomplish. But I think they're missing that camaraderie piece, or that being able to understand somebody because you're physically in front of them, you're having a conversation, you're talking, you're doing those types of things, and that gets lost big time.
That's the number one reason I bought a stand-up desk.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's I hated much probably like the two of you. I hated leadership by email.
Mm-hmm.
If I needed to talk to a gunny, I was already standing, so I know go talk to one of my gunnies. Go talk to this person. Come back to my desk, send a quick email. Go talk to this person. Go downstairs. Go see what the duty's doing. Whatever it does. At the standing desk. I kind of miss my standing desk. I think I might get a new one.
See, that was me. Andrew, how many times I'd come over to the schoolhouse just to talk face to face instead of just, I could have easily picked up the phone and called or sent an email, but that's me. I'd rather just go talk to you face to face.
Well, that was the huge generational type gap that we had, right? Yeah. The Massarns and me, like we would get up and go see each other, talk to each other, have conversations, and a lot of times it was work stuff, a lot of times it wasn't, but we were talking and seeing each other on a regular basis. Right. Whereas you look at those more junior Marines, they struggle with that. Maybe because they grew up playing video games and doing that type of stuff, so they're not used to that face-to-face interaction as much.
Kind of makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, it totally does. Not to mention, people can't gaff you off when you're standing in front of them. Hey, I need this from you. Give me 10 minutes. Okay, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's what I always say, right? Hey, it's easy to gaff somebody off if they shoot you an email. It's easy to say no because you don't see anybody. There's no feeling involved whatsoever. It's just like, nope, I'm not going to do it. All right, now you talk on the phone. Okay, it's a little bit harder to do, but still you can tell them no. But you walk in front of somebody and you standing there in front of them and you're like, how you doing? They're going to think twice. They're going to be like, oh man, if I tell them no, it's going to get uncomfortable. And so they'll usually cave.
Yeah. I would say, technology has definitely helped, but also hurt us throughout the years. And I think has allowed the military to become more civilianized and leaning towards corporate America, in that sense. The other thing is we rely a lot on civilians to support us now.
Yeah, that's very true.
Look at the chow halls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I brought that up earlier.
I can't remember when the last time somebody went on mess duty.
I don't think they do that anymore, unless somebody gets in trouble, like locally, and that'd be just like a crack deal between that unit and the chow hall. We did that. We had a Marine get in trouble, and instead of doing EPD and stuff there at the schoolhouse, we just sent him over to the chow hall and worked over there.
See, when I first came in, it was a requirement. You had to do like 30 days on mess duty.
I never had to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I did mess hall duty when I was in boot camp. Man, that was great too. I got to eat all the cookies and hoagie
Oh,
bake.
yeah, the staff sergeant or the gunny in the chow hall made
Yeah.
sure you were fed.
Oh yeah, they didn't care. Oh shoot, that's funny.
Yeah, my team week sucked. We were on some kind of working crew that belonged. I mean, they sent us over to, like, I don't know, S1 or something to be a working crew, and
Oh, yeah.
they never wanted us for anything. So I literally spent the entire week in a broom closet listening to the radio.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
we
not even
resented
kidding.
you. We resented you guys.
In a broom closet.
I was a scullery honcho.
Oh my
To
god.
wash some dishes.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
at one time a corporal came and said, "Hey, I need you to help me move some tables." We moved tables for 10 minutes. I said, "All right, go back to where you're at." And that was it
For the whole week?
for the whole week.
Oh my
I'm in
god.
there trying to do the right thing and reading my Green Monster, and the other recruits are all just sleeping and shit. I'm like, oh, all right, I give up.
Oh, that's good stuff. Oh.
So I have a question for you. Like, you kind of hinted at it earlier a little bit, Aaron, I think. But as far as, like the military turning corporate because we're civilianizing more jobs, is it because that the ground fighter is becoming less and less useful?
Ooh.
Ah, great question. I actually think so, yes. If you think about it, the Marine Corps, the way they're changing their structure and building these littoral regiments,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
less, I guess you could say ground pounders and more kind of, I guess, long range, smaller strike forces, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that statement. And it's because the dynamic has changed, Look, in the early 2000s, we went to war in the Middle East with kind of a barbaric, you know, outdated,
Yeah.
you know, fighter, uh, again, the insurgency, and all that. They didn't have technology. Yeah, I mean, they use these phones to set off bombs and stuff like that. But
Mm-hmm.
now they have drones supplied by other superpowers.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. The dynamic has definitely changed. What was
absolutely.
recently, or I guess a couple years ago now, but they were talking about the fight is on the horizon, right? It's
Yeah.
not the beachhead anymore. It's
Hmm.
beyond the beachhead is the fight. So even if we do take the beach, we're still trying to reach out before that and take out those strategic targets that are further, like in the horizon, is what they said. I think.
Well, you have to, or you're never going to get to the beach. Look
Yeah.
what's
Well, yeah.
happening
True
in the
that.
Middle East right now. I mean,
Yeah.
they're rocket striking ships that come through there.
Mm-hmm.
So, and these aren't short range rockets. These aren't RPGs. These are long range, mid
Yeah.
to long range rockets.
Yeah. You just gotta, I'm glad there's people way smarter than me that are kind of making some of those decisions up there at the Pentagon. But uh, I just hate to be the guy trying to make those decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I absolutely would not want to be that guy, but
Yeah.
that somebody has to do it, right?
Yeah. True. True. It's not going to be me. So the only decision
Yeah,
that
but
I'm going to make is how fast do I drive and what am I going to eat next? That's it.
Where are you stopping
but
for the night?
Where am I going to stop for that? Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good one. I like that. Yeah.
As we like modernize the fighting force,
Hmm.
the who Amos's thing was the tactical corporal. Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Amos
I
came up
think
with it.
so.
I can't remember. I can't remember which commandant
Uh,
it was, but it
Strategic
was the
corporal.
Mm-hmm.
That was
yeah the
oh man,
that
memory's
was a while
fading.
back. Anyways,
Yeah,
yeah. Anyways, but like
Krulak.
like well, was it Krulak? Maybe Joe.
Yeah,
That wasn't
yeah.
that long ago, was it?
Yeah, it was.
Um,
No
Oh,
kidding.
okay. But like
Man,
the
y'all are
tactical
old.
corporal is that corporal out on the battlefield making decisions, But like I see it, we're already in that like era now where we have the drone fighter making decisions,
Mm-hmm.
the drone pilot,
Yeah.
so it's like instead of the tactical corporal on the ground, we got somebody that's flying a drone with that's thousands of miles away from where the drone's at,
Mm-hmm.
making decisions about targets, and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's interesting on where war fighting is going these days.
Well, yeah, and then that's why, General Naylor discussed, and they had the conversations then about staff sergeants becoming squad leaders
Yeah.
because of
I
the
remember that.
type of decisions that needed to be made on the
Mm-hmm.
battlefield.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the staff sergeants these days are the same maturity as the corporals from Vietnam.
Yeah. Well,
There's
I'm not.
that.
I'm not going to say no to that. It's yeah. Yeah. I would definitely say that the Marines back in the day probably had a little more oomph to them to make decisions. So
Well, I
Yeah, I
think,
mean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
uh, yeah, I think with technology, I think, back then they were kind of forced to grow up a little bit faster, right?
yeah, that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
good point.
Nowadays, you can stay young mentally too.
True. True.
Yeah.
Oh man. Wow. It's definitely a interesting topic for sure.
Yeah, we haven't even started talking about money yet.
Oh
No.
God. Well, let's go ahead. You brought it up. Go ahead and start talking about money.
I mean, as far as the military turning corporate, who was it? Was it Eisenhower? Dubbed it the war machine.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The industrial complex.
Yeah.
That war was becoming because all the money that goes in and out of the war machine.
Mm-hmm.
I have a buddy who recently retired from the Army, and his job was to write grants. He was an officer in the Army, and his only job was to write grants. Like he was basically, petitioning Congress for money so the Army could like start this program or start that program or start this program. I mean, it was
Wow.
all about begging for money.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at all the money that goes in and out to all these contracts, how many of these programs don't even get off the ground? The military complex throws billions of dollars at something, and they're like, okay, scrap it, go on to something else.
I'm actually working on one right now. Uh, yeah. So the project I'm working on was started, I'd probably be lying, but probably somewhere around 10 plus years ago.
Mm.
And it never got off the ground. And, now we're kind of forced to,
Yeah.
just because, money's running out to support the old system. So,
Wow.
you got to have a new system to replace that one.
As fast as computers and all that stuff is developing, uh, it's amazing how fast it works, and then how much money it takes. Because although I'm sure the military is getting somewhat of a cut, right, or a break on the prices, uh, but there are companies that specifically are there to make money off the military for that, and they're not going to cut the prices that much.
Oh no.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, absolutely. It goes to the cheapest bidder, but you're absolutely right. Companies, well, you have to have those civilian companies to do it because the military can't, we don't have the folks to develop it. And again, the program I'm working on, the amount of man hours that these guys put into this program to get it developed it's amazing. I was like, oh, okay, what does it take to do this? Thinking, oh, it don't take much. Oh, was I sadly mistaken? But you have to have the cooperation of all parties involved.
Yeah.
Whether it's the folks handling that money, the contracting officers, the middleman, and then the guy producing the product or the service, and then of course the guys on the government side that are receiving it to make sure that it's meeting those needs and those demands.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's kind of crazy. I've learned a very little in a short amount of time, but it's enough to be like, yeah, it takes a lot.
Man. No,
And
that's fun.
to your point, the guy's begging for money.
Hmm.
The Congress doesn't want to give us any more money.
Yeah,
They're trying to cut.
yeah, and well, they need to cut a
They
lot of
do,
areas.
but I would argue that defense is not the place to cut it.
Well, I would agree with that statement as well. I think that defense is fairly important. Um,
Yeah.
but
They really need to crack down on the fraud and waste and abuse,
mhm,
and it's out there. They just choose to turn a blind eye to it.
yeah, yeah. What happens at the unit level, even? You know what I'm saying? So
Well, yeah.
it's not just at the very top, because they'll say, "Hey, you got this much money, you better spend it." Because if you don't spend it, you're not going to get that much the next year. Uh, so you got to show that you're spending that and some to be able to get more the following year. And that's how it's like, if you're doing that at the unit level, all the way up, to division, to the Marine Corps or the Department of Defense. My God, man, we're spending ridiculous amounts of money.
It's funny you say that. You know how many units I've been in where I've been in the briefs and the commander's saying, "Hey, we gave back, X millions of dollars," and I'm like, "Well, what are they doing with it?"
I'm telling you, it goes somewhere. Somebody's
Oh
using it.
yeah. It gets reappropriated to something else, but
Yeah. Yeah, there's somebody.
Another taking gas for Air Force One.
right.
Yeah, well, that is one impressive plane, though.
Both
Yeah.
of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. I heard, and I don't know if this is true. I may be blowing smoke here, but I heard they were updating the helicopters. Did they move it to Ospreys? Marine
Oh,
One?
you're talking about HMX one or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the unit.
I thought they changed it to Ospreys. I don't know that 100% though.
I think they
I
did get a
don't
new
think
helicopter.
so.
No,
Not
Yeah,
Ospreys
yeah.
though.
But
Yeah, I think it's still Sikorsky or whatever it is, but it's not an Ospreys,
yeah.
which are also still bugged. I mean, did we just have an Osprey accident
20
like a couple months ago?
Yeah, 25 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're still having off. Yeah, that I don't know if that was just somebody's bad idea that we're going to make work anyways, but. And then the F-35 is a fifth generation fighter. They're already working on the sixth generation fighter because of our corporate espionage or defense espionage. Has all of our secrets about the 35 have been leaked, and so now they're already starting on a sixth generation fighter.
Oh my God.
It's a
Yeah.
VH-92 is the new variant
What you're
Okay,
talking
sure.
about
I
the
played the
helicopter. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We went back
Well, it
because
still
I
makes
got
sense for
confused there for
somebody
a
that plays
second.
drums.
It's a Sikorsky, but it's been in the works for a while now.
So, but that is a newer aircraft.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I just may have got them confused. You remember it was one of the very first accidents that they had with the Ospreys. It was in Yuma, if I'm not mistaken. It had to have been around 2000-ish time frame, maybe 2000 going into 2001. But I had 4 of my fellow recruits from boot camp who were actually on that helicopter or that aircraft that went down, and they died.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Oh, you said it was an Osprey?
It was Osprey. Yeah, it was right when the
Yeah.
Ospreys were starting out.
Yeah, I was on my MEU deployment in 2012. We lost one with the two crew and the pilot and co-pilot.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a very interesting plane.
Yeah. There's from talking to pilots that I've worked with through the years, a lot of them say that there's no room for error.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. All I can say, glad I'm not a pilot. That's just too much. Too much.
I don't think I would have made it through flight school.
Well, I wouldn't have done that either. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm not smart enough to make it that far.
Too many gauges and stuff.
Mm-hmm. I have a hard enough time starting this podcast, so I couldn't imagine having
me
to
too,
fly
apparently.
something. What's that?
I said me too, apparently.
We got it figured out though.
I had a decent ASVAB score. My recruiter's like, "You sure you want to be an 03?" I said, "Yeah, pull trigger, go boom."
I play drums for a living. What do you want?
Pull trigger, go boom.
Are you better than Andrew?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Anybody's
It's not
better
that hard, is it?
than I am.
No, it's easy to be better than me. Oh man. Oh, I may have a gig here coming up soon, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah, man.
Drums,
Huh?
not on drums.
Oh no, not on drums. I think I've forgotten how to do that. No, playing guitar and singing.
uh-oh.
I went out to the local VFW here and went in and I was like, well, what do I got to do to join up? And the guy talked me through it. We're sitting there having a conversation and he's like, what was your job? And I was like, oh, I was a musician. He's like, oh, no kidding. What'd you play? I was like, well, I was a drummer starting out. And, I don't do that anymore though. All I do is play guitar and mess around and sing songs. And he's like, you want a gig? And I'm like, maybe. So I might be playing at the VFW, man.
Hey, don't forget us. Don't forget about us little people. When
I'm telling you.
become famous.
Shoot. I'm rolling in the
Next
dough
week,
with
you're
that.
going to be wearing a Killer Tomato jacket, and 3 weeks later, you're going to be wearing shoes with Velcro on them.
I do the shoes that don't have nothing. You just slip your foot in.
You just slip them in there.
Yeah.
Oh, the hey dudes. You been wearing the hey dudes?
Yeah.
No orthopedic inserts yet?
No, not yet. Not yet. It's coming though.
Give it 10.
Yeah. And all my VA stuff is finally in. I should be getting a rating here soon. So it's been an interesting go. The VA and the process and doing all that stuff. I need to have some guys on from the VA to kind of talk about that type of stuff.
Yeah, that would be a good one.
That would be a great show.
I want to do one with the VA, and then I want to get a what are they called? VSO.
Yes.
Yeah, so I want to do
Veteran
one with the
Service
VA and then one with the VSO, so they can kind of like legitimately, like from the VA's perspective, these are the things we're looking at. This is what we want to do, and then from the VSO's perspective of, hey, here are some things you need to think about.
Speaking of military going civilian, we do need civilians to support us.
Oh yeah.
And those are some very important people.
Yeah.
Don't even get me started. Holy cow.
Some of the jobs are very important that we need.
Yes.
Maybe not all of them.
Right.
Yeah. I will not deny that part of the reason that I retired as a Master Sergeant, I could have gone to Master Guns, but part of the reason I retired as Master Sergeant is because the inbredness of Parris Island. All the drill instructors that all retired and then came back to work at the depot. There are, I think, 6 retired Eastern Recruiting Region Sergeant Majors, like the Depot Sergeant Major. 6 of them have retired and come back to work on base.
That's pretty impressive.
It's so inbred, it's incestuous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you're not a drill instructor, a sergeant major, or a first sergeant that used to be a drill instructor, or a retired sergeant major, or first sergeant that used to be a drill instructor, you're not in the club. And if you're not in the club, you don't get anything done on Parris Island.
So that's a great point. I want to kind of add here towards the end. There are some positions out there, and I'm not going to name names or units or any of that stuff, where some of those civilians come back and those guys are writing fit reps.
That's true, yeah.
They are kind of overstepping. I wouldn't, again, they're writing fit reps. They're the quote unquote RS, but they're kind of not removing their rank from the military, right? From when they retired.
Yeah.
They're still counseling young Marines. They're still doing things that, they probably need to step back and let those staff NCOs do. But then you've also got some young staff NCOs and NCOs that are like, well, so-and-so is going to do it, so I'm not even going to bother doing it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
To me, that kind of breeds the weakness, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that.
because ultimately that civilian cannot hold that young Marine accountable. Only the commander can.
Yeah.
And if the leadership in between that young Marine and that commander is not doing their job,
Mm-hmm.
so now
Yeah,
you just
good point.
have issues.
Yeah, that's a rough go. You got the
Yeah.
civilians that come back and they get the jobs and stuff. I mean, I can understand why we want to do that because they have proven themselves, let's say, and they
Yeah.
know the job very well, or they know the atmosphere or whatever, and they know how to will and deal within the Marine Corps, or
Yeah.
whatever
Might I even
service it
say
may
that they
be.
have corporate knowledge?
There you go, corporate knowledge. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
There you go.
Keep
So
them
I can see
entertained.
how we would want that, right? Because you're
Well,
letting a
there's
guy go at 30 years and he's got a lot of
yeah.
experience, and you're like, oh man, we could keep him around. I can understand that.
Well, there's some continuity there. Like in my job field, you don't want somebody swapping out every 2 to 3 years. Actually, probably less than that when they were putting officers,
Oh yeah.
majors, lieutenant colonels in the billet for like a
Mhm.
year at a time, and there's
Yeah.
no continuity there. Now the staff NCO should be the one holding the fort down
Mhm.
and all that. But they created these civilian GS billets that are in charge of the TIBFID, the JOPS TIBFID, and a lot of them are great. I know a lot of them personally, and they're good. But
Mhm.
then in other units, there may be some that are kind of micromanaging all the personnel that are, and it's like you don't need to do that. You
Yeah.
write the fit rep for the NCOs and staff NCOs, possibly.
Mhm.
Just depends on what unit in. I've been in units where they didn't even write them,
Oh
but
wow.
you know,
Hmm.
if you're writing that staff NCO or NCO's fit rep, then you're in charge of them. You're not in charge of the junior Marines.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do what you want with it, but at the same time, you don't need to come in and say, "Hey, the Marines PT today," in front of all the Marines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
Just say, "Hey, Sergeant, Staff Sergeant, Gunny, whatever your the rank is," and say, "Hey, I see you're kind of slacking on your leadership there. You might want to pick it up.
Yeah.
I have to write your fit rep,
Yeah. Fit rep's right around the corner. You might want to think about that.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
because I'm speaking on behalf of the Marine Corps. Most Marines want to succeed and they want to do the right thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I would agree with
Other
that.
services, I can't say so much.
I would say more than likely the majority are the same way. They want to come in, they want to do good, they want to, at least from what I have seen. I do think that there's the select few in every service that they're just there for a paycheck,
9 to 5,
Yeah.
or to pay for college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once my college is paid for, I'm gone.
Or their Xbox addiction.
Well, that, yeah.
Well, it's either that or alcohol, or there's always something.
Cigars.
Yeah, cigars. That's you for sure. Yeah. But very cool. Well, anything else? Y'all want to chat about something else?
I can't think of much more.
Oh, I get disconnected.
Nope, you're here. I hear you. Can you hear me?
I don't think he hears us.
He's gonna start cursing in a second. Oh, that's too funny.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there you go. I hear you. No, you're here, man. You're here. Nope, he's gone.
Yeah,
He's gone.
He couldn't hear us.
It's just the two of us now.
Yeah.
The two of us and whoever else is listening.
See, sometimes technology's not a good thing.
Yeah, that's true. I'd rather have a face-to-face. It's much easier.
Sit around the table or something.
Well, the campfire. I mean, it's a
The campfire. There we go.
It's a fireside
Yeah,
chat.
fireside chat.
Yeah, we got to keep that alive. So,
Challenge accepted.
oh, there you are. Hey.
Yeah, I'm sure it's user error.
Well, I don't know. We heard you just fine, but you apparently didn't hear us.
Yeah. I saw the little green circles around everybody's picture icon. I'm like, they're talking. I can't hear. I don't know what's going on.
It's good stuff. We heard you
Don't
cursing in
worry,
the
we were
background.
we
Don't
were
worry.
talking about you.
Yeah, we were definitely.
Yeah, you and every one of my students. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep.
Hey, if they're talking about you, you must be doing something right.
Oh yeah, I sent my first kid to the principal today. That was great.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
You are mean.
I
Oh,
totally
you're
am.
teaching in school.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm teaching in school.
Oh, and not high
What
school.
grade?
Right now it's just junior high, but
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to get the junior high kids to stick around to want to take band in high school because they don't have a band program yet in high school.
Okay.
So, but apparently I'm not doing too well.
I think that's pretty normal for a new guy to walk in and, hey, this is what we're going to do. And you start saying, setting the ground rules for everybody. I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah, except for it's seventh and eighth graders, which you can't say anything to seventh and eighth graders without them thinking it has something to do with sex.
Huh.
So,
I don't.
oh yeah, trumpet your sharp, pull out. He said pull out.
Wow.
I'm not even kidding. Hey, a clarinet player today was like,
Hey, it's
hey,
the world at their palm of their hands nowadays.
oh my God. Yeah, totally.
Uh,
I had a clarinet player tell me today, hey, I can't get my clarinet to work. And I was like, because you have too much of the mouthpiece in your mouth. Are you telling me to pull things out of my mouth? I'm like, oh my God.
oh my God, man.
I'm not even kidding. I'm not even making it up. It's like, you can't make that stuff up.
Tell them they better get it
Yeah.
under control now. They go to the civilian workforce and they'll be getting charged.
Yeah.
For military workforce, you can get charged.
Yeah,
Yeah. That stuff's no joke.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Now they're
right.
trying to legislate the feelings into if you don't call me by my right pronoun, then I can take legal action against you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't even want to get into that.
That'd
Just
be a
like they do in
different
corporate
time.
America.
Yeah, corporate America, we'll stick with that one. That's the other one might be too much of a polarizing type of thing. It's probably not the best of things to get into right away. But anyways,
Andrew, come on, let's go.
huh?
I said plant a flag. Let's go.
Ain't no flag planted here, buddy.
Not ready for that one yet.
No, you wait till I get a lot more followers and we'll talk about some stuff like that. Wait till I'm like big time, you know what I'm saying? No, even then I
Joe
probably wouldn't even
Rogan.
talk about it.
You gotta have influence, Andrew.
Oh, I got some influence.
Once you gain that influence, then you can start bringing those folks on to have those conversations.
Yeah, true. The greatest thing about being the host of the podcast is I can kind of just agitate people and get them worked up,
Right.
which is basically what I've done my entire career. So
I was going to say, aren't you kind of used to that?
yeah, that's a good point. I've had a lot of practice.
Yeah.
It's been fun. So yeah. Anyways, hey, thanks for coming on and chatting about this. Is the military becoming too corporate? So maybe yes, maybe no, but either way, I think it's something that the military, in my opinion, needs to kind of take a look at. And there has to be a happy medium in there somewhere. So, yeah. But yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. You guys rock.
Absolutely.
We'll have to do it again. And then for everyone, thanks for tuning in. If you made it this far, hearing us rambling toward the end, yeah, it's been fun. Tune in next week for all the other good stuff that's coming up. I think you'll enjoy them. Anyways, stay motivated. Change your socks.